Princess Jia stood by the large window of her royal chambers. She looked out at the 3 moons that hung in the purple sky of Hanjin. The light from the moons made the tall crystal towers of the capital city shine. She should have felt happy. Instead, she felt trapped. "Your Highness, it is time for the council meeting," said Han, her royal guard. "The noble houses are waiting." Jia turned away from the window with a small sigh. Another day, another meeting where old men would tell her who she should marry. "Very well," she said. "Let's not keep them waiting." The halls of the palace were wide and tall. The walls shimmered with light that came from nowhere and everywhere. Jia walked with her head high, as a princess should, but her mind wandered far from the palace, out into the stars. The council chamber fell silent when she entered. 12 noble lords in their fine clothes bowed low. At the head of the table sat Lord Hyun, the royal advisor. His face never showed what he thought, but his eyes followed Jia like a hunter. "Princess," Lord Hyun said, "we must discuss your choice of mate. The future of our kingdom depends on it." Jia took her seat. "As you have told me many times, Lord Hyun, the House of Min offers their eldest son," one lord said. "The House of Kang has the strongest fleet," said another. Jia listened as they listed the sons of noble houses. None of them interested her. They were all the same, proud, proper, and as exciting as watching paint dry. "I hear your concerns," Jia said when they finished. "But I will not be rushed." Lord Hyun's mouth tightened. "Princess, you are 25 cycles old. The time for choice is now. And I will choose when I am ready," Jia said. "Now, if there is nothing else, I must prepare for my diplomatic mission to Station 9. The lords muttered, but none dared argue. Jia left with her head high, but her heart heavy. 3 days later, Jia's royal cruiser cut through the darkness of space. The ship was the pride of the Hanjin fleet, with its sleek design and powerful engines. Jia stood on the bridge, finally feeling free. "We will reach Station 9 in 6 hours, Your Highness," the captain said. Jia nodded. "Good. I will be in my quarters." But they never reached Station 9. The attack came suddenly. 3 raider ships appeared from nowhere. They were fast, and their weapons strong. The royal cruiser shook as blasts hit its shields. "Protect the princess," the captain shouted as the bridge filled with smoke. The raiders hit again and again. The shields failed. Jia held onto a railing as the ship tilted. "Engine damage is critical," someone yelled. "We're losing power." Jia watched in horror as the raiders prepared for another attack. This would be the one that destroyed them. Then, a new ship appeared. It was smaller than the royal cruiser and looked rough, like it had been patched many times. But it moved with surprising speed. It fired at the raiders, drawing their attention. "Who is that?" Jia asked. The communications officer looked surprised. "There, human, Your Highness." The human ship danced between the raiders, its weapons not as powerful but aimed with perfect skill. One raider ship exploded. The others turned to run. "They're hailing us," the officer said. A voice came through the speakers. It spoke Galactic Common with a strange accent. "This is Captain Ta of the Earth trading vessel Sunlight. Looks like you folks could use some help." Jia had never met a human before. Her people saw humans as a minor species, barely worth notice. But this human had just saved her life. "Our engines are damaged," the captain of Jia's ship said. "We cannot move." "We can tow you to our nearby outpost," Captain Tay replied. "It's not fancy, but we've got good mechanics." Jia stepped forward. "This is Princess Jia of the stellar kingdom of Hanjin. We accept your help, Captain Ta." There was a pause. A princess, huh? "Well, Your Highness, let's get you somewhere safe." Jia didn't know it yet, but her life was about to change forever. Captain Tay's ship pulled the damaged royal cruiser through space. Princess Jia watched from a small window as they approached a planet that looked like a blue and green marble. "Earth Colony 5, explained Captain Ta. He stood next to Jia, pointing at the growing planet. Not as fancy as your worlds, but we call it home. Gia studied the human captain. He was tall for a human, with dark hair and eyes that crinkled when he smiled. His clothes were simple but clean. No fancy medals or royal marks like the nobles wore back home. I've never met a human before, Jia admitted. Tai laughed. Not surprising. Your kingdom barely talks to us. We're too small, too new to space travel. How new? Jia asked. First human ship left our solar system about 70 years ago, Ta said. By then, your people had been traveling the stars for thousands of years. The ships landed at a busy port built on a wide plain. Jia stepped out and felt the warm sun on her face. The air smelled different from home, wilder somehow. Han, her royal guard, stayed close. Princess, we should contact the kingdom right away. Communications are down across this sector, Ta said. Probably the same raiders who attacked you. We can fix your ship, but it will take a few days. Jia saw worry on Han's face but felt a strange thrill. A few days away from the kingdom, away from Lord Hyun and his endless talk of noble marriages. Show me your colony, Captain Tai, she said. Tai took them through the settlement in a ground vehicle. The buildings were not like the crystal towers of Hanjin. They were made of metal and stone, built low to the ground. Our biggest challenge is water, Tai explained, as they passed fields where people worked under the sun. This planet doesn't have much. So we made this. He pointed to a large glass building where water flowed in clear tubes. We catch morning fog, clean old water, even pull some from the air, he said. Not as easy as your water-making machines, but it works. Jia was surprised. Why not trade for water-making technology? Tai's face hardened a little. Your kingdom sets the prices too high, keeps us dependent. They stopped at a busy market. People of all ages moved about, trading goods and talking. Children ran between stalls, laughing. Everyone works here, Ta said with pride. No royal houses, no lords telling us what to do. Jia watched a woman fix a broken machine with parts that didn't match. In the kingdom, we would replace that, not fix it. Can't always replace things out here, Ta said. Have to make do. They ate at a small food shop where the owner greeted Ta like an old friend. The food was simple but full of flavor. Jia had never eaten with her hands before, but she tried it. Good, right? Tai asked, smiling at her messy fingers. Jia nodded, feeling strangely happy. Then a message came through on Ta's communicator. His face changed as he read it. What is it? Jia asked. Your ship sent out a royal distress call before communications went down, Ta said. A Hanjin battle cruiser just entered our system. They're coming for you. Han stepped forward. Good. The princess will be returned to safety. But Jia didn't feel happy about this news. The battle cruiser would take her back to the palace, back to the meetings, and the pressure to choose a mate. Captain, a young human ran up to them. The Hanjin ship is demanding to speak to whoever is in charge. Ta stood straighter. That would be me. No, the messenger said. They're asking for whoever is in charge of the princess. Ta looked confused. He turned to Jia. What does that mean? Han bowed low to Jia. Forgive me, Your Highness. I should have told him properly who you are. Tai's eyes widened. Your Highness. Wait, you're not just any princess. You're T80 princess. The heir to the Hanjin kingdom. Jia nodded. I am. Tai's face went pale. So I've been showing the future ruler of the most powerful kingdom in this part of the galaxy our little colony and feeding her street food. Despite everything, Jia smiled. Yes, and it's the most interesting day I've had in years. The Hanjin battle cruiser hung in the sky like a dark cloud. It was 10 times bigger than Tai's ship and shaped like a sharp blade. Princess Jia stood in the colony's meeting hall as the ship's commander appeared on the large screen. Princess Jia, the commander said with a deep bow. We have come to bring you home safely. Thank you, Commander, Jia said. But I am not in danger. Captain Tai and his people saved me from raiders. The commander's eyes moved to Ta, who stood to the side. A human. How? Unexpected. 2 days later, Jia was back on her royal cruiser, now fixed by human mechanics. But she had made a decision that surprised everyone. I am inviting Captain Ta to come to the kingdom as my honored guest, she told Commander Li. The commander's face showed shock. A human. In the royal palace. Princess. That has never happened before. Then it is time for a first, Jia said. Ta, standing nearby, looked uncomfortable. Your Highness, I'm just a simple trader. I don't belong in a royal palace. Jia smiled at him. You saved my life. That earned you a place at my table. 1 week later, the royal cruiser arrived at the capital of the Hanjin Kingdom. The crystal towers shone in the light of the 3 moons. Ta stood at a window, his eyes wide with wonder. It's beautiful, he said. Yes, Jia agreed. But beauty is not everything. The welcome ceremony was grand. Lords and ladies in fine clothes filled the great hall of the palace. King Sun, Jia's father, sat on a throne made of light. My daughter returned safely, the king announced. His voice was deep and carried through the hall without help. Jia bowed to her father. Thanks to Captain Tai of Earth Colony 5. The hall grew quiet as Tai stepped forward. He wore his best clothes, but they looked simple next to the fine outfits of the nobles. He bowed to the king. Rise, human, King Sun said. The kingdom thanks you for saving our princess. Lord Hyun stepped forward from his place beside the king. His eyes were cold as he looked at Ta. Your Majesty, he said, while we are grateful, we must not forget the place of humans in the order of things. Jia felt anger rise in her chest. And what place is that, Lord Hyun? They are a young species, Lord Hyun said, barely out of their own solar system. They have much to learn before they can stand as equals in the royal court. Ta stood straight. With respect, Lord Hyun, age is not the same as wisdom. The nobles gasped. No one spoke to Lord Hyun like that. You dare. Lord Hyun's voice was quiet but dangerous. You know nothing of our ways. I know that I was judged before I even opened my mouth. Ta said, just as your kingdom judges all humans. Lord Hyun's face grew dark with anger. If you think yourself worthy to stand in this court, then prove it. How? Ta asked. The trial of worth, Lord Hyun said. An ancient test for those who seek royal favor. No outsider has ever passed. The king leaned forward. Lord Hyun, the trial is meant for nobles seeking my daughter's hand. This human is just a visitor who thinks himself equal to our greatest houses, Lord Hyun said. He turned to Ta. Unless, of course, you admit your place. Jia saw the trap. Captain Ta does not need to accept. I accept, Ta said. The hall filled with whispers. Jia looked at Ta with surprise and worry. Do you know what you're doing? She asked quietly. Ta smiled at her. Not really. But I know when someone is trying to put me in my place, and I know that how your kingdom sees me will affect how it sees all humans. Lord Hyun looked pleased. The trial has 3 parts, mind, body, and spirit. Fail any part, and you leave the kingdom in shame. And if I pass? Ta asked. If you pass, the king said before Lord Hyun could answer, you will have earned the respect of the Hanjin kingdom. No small thing, Captain. Ta bowed to the king. When do we start? Tomorrow, Lord Hyun said. Be ready, human. Your kind has never faced anything like the trial of worth. Jia watched Ta's face. She saw no fear there, only determination. And for the first time, she wondered if there was more to humans than her people had ever thought. Morning came to the Hanjin kingdom. The first sun rose over the crystal towers, painting them gold. Captain Ta stood in the room given to him in the palace. It was bigger than his entire ship. A soft knock came at the door. Princess Jia entered, her face serious. You should not have accepted the trial, she said. Lord Hyun will make sure you fail. Ta smiled. Good morning to you too, Princess. This is not a joke, Jia said. The trial of mind is first. You will face a puzzle that has stumped our best thinkers. Then I'll probably be stumped too, Ta said. But I have to try. Jia shook her head. Why? You could go home. You've already been honored for saving me. Ta looked out the window at the shining city. Because your people think humans are simple, not worth notice. If I run from the challenge, I prove them right. Jia watched him for a long moment. You are strange, Captain Ta. Just Ta, he said. And where I come from, being called strange is a compliment. The trial of mind took place in the great library of Hanjin. The walls were lined with glowing screens showing knowledge from 1,000 worlds. In the center stood a strange machine. It was made of crystal and metal, with spinning parts that moved in odd ways. Lord Hyun waited there, with several other nobles and scholars. His smile was cold when he saw Ta. The puzzle of Dak, Lord Hyun said, pointing to the machine. Created 500 years ago. No one has solved it completely. Ta looked at the machine with interest. What am I supposed to do? Make it stop, Lord Hyun said simply. Ta walked around the machine, studying it from all sides. The parts moved in patterns that seemed random, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. May I touch it? Ta asked. If you dare, a scholar said. Many have been hurt trying. Ta reached out carefully. He touched a spinning crystal rod. It hummed under his fingers. He pulled his hand back in surprise. It's alive, he asked. The scholars laughed. Not alive. One said, it's powered by thought waves. The more you try to understand it, the more energy it has to move. Ta frowned. So the harder I think about solving it, the harder it becomes to solve. Lord Hyun finished. Quite the puzzle, isn't it? Princess Jia watched from the side. She had never seen the puzzle before. Women were not usually allowed in the great library. Ta walked around the machine again. Then he did something strange. He closed his eyes. What is he doing? A noble whispered. Giving up already, another said with a laugh. But Ta wasn't giving up. With his eyes still closed, he reached out and placed his hands on 2 spinning parts at once. The machine hummed louder. He'll be thrown across the room, a scholar said. Stepping back, Ta kept his eyes closed. His breathing slowed. The parts under his hands began to slow down too. Lord Hyun's smile disappeared. Impossible. Tai opened his eyes. On Earth, we have something like this. We call it biofeedback. The more calm your thoughts, the more control you have. One by one, the spinning parts slowed. The humming grew quiet. Finally, with a soft click, the machine stopped completely. The room was silent. Then the scholars all began talking at once. How did he do that? It shouldn't be possible. No one told him the secret. Lord Hyun's face was dark with anger. Lucky guess, he said. Ta shook his head. Not luck. Different thinking. Your scholars tried to outthink the machine. I just didn't think at all. Jia stepped forward, her eyes bright with excitement. The trial of mind is complete. Captain Ta has passed. Lord Hyun bowed stiffly. 1 trial passed. 2 remain. The trial of body will not be so easy, human. As they left the library, Jia walked beside Ta. How did you really know what to do? Ta smiled. I didn't, but sometimes the hardest problems have the simplest solutions. Jia looked back at the still machine. I have much to learn about humans, it seems. And I have much to learn about your kingdom, Ta said, starting with why women aren't allowed in that library. Jia was surprised by the question. No one had ever asked her that before. The second trial came 2 days later. Princess Jia walked with Ta down a long hall lined with statues of past kings and queens. The trial of body is dangerous, Jia said. Our people evolved on a world with high gravity. We are naturally stronger than humans. Ta nodded. I figured that out when I saw your guards lift things no human could. You can still back out, Jia said, and prove Lord Hyun right about humans. Ta shook his head. No thanks. They entered a large round room. The floor and walls were made of a strange, shifting material. Lord Hyun stood at the center with several nobles and 4 strong-looking men. Welcome to the Gravity Gardens, Lord Hyun said. The trial of body is simple. Cross the room and touch the far wall. Ta looked around. That's it. One of the strong men laughed. Not as easy as it sounds, human. Lord Hyun raised his hand. Begin. Suddenly, the gravity in the room changed. Ta felt himself grow heavy, as if his body weighed 3 times normal. He stumbled and fell to one knee. The 4 men started across the room. They moved slowly but steadily, clearly used to the heavy gravity. Ta tried to stand, but could barely lift himself. The Hunjin evolved to handle changing gravity. Lord Hyun said, "Can humans say the same?" Jia watched with worry as Tai struggled to his feet. His face was red with effort. One of the nobles pressed a control on his wrist. Suddenly, the section of floor under Tai changed. The gravity there grew even stronger. Tai fell flat to the ground. That's cheating, Jia said. Lord Hyun shrugged. The gravity changes randomly. It always has. But Jia had seen the noble press the control. This was not random. Tai lay on the floor, his breath coming in hard gasps. The 4 men were already halfway across the room. One looked back and laughed. Then something changed in Ta's eyes. He stopped trying to stand up. Instead, he began to crawl, staying low to the ground. Smart, Jia whispered. By keeping his body close to the floor, Ta put less strain on his muscles. Lord Hyun frowned. Crawling like an animal. How fitting for a human. But Ta wasn't just crawling. He was watching the floor carefully. The shifting patterns showed where the gravity was changing. When he came to a spot where the floor turned dark red, he stopped. Then he did something no one expected. He pushed hard with his hands and slid across the red patch like it was ice. The red spots have reversed gravity, one scholar said in surprise. How did he know? Ta continued this way, crawling where the gravity was heavy, sliding where it reversed. He began to catch up to the 4 men, who were still walking straight through everything. The noble with the control looked worried. He pressed it again, targeting Ta. But this time, Ta was ready. When the gravity under him suddenly increased, he was already rolling to the side. One of the 4 men reached the far wall first. The second arrived moments later. But the third and fourth were still struggling. Ta moved faster now, having learned the patterns. He passed the 3rd man, who looked shocked to see the human go by. The 4th man saw Ta catching up. He stuck out his foot, trying to trip him. Ta stumbled but didn't fall. He kept going. It was close, but Ta touched the far wall just before the 4th man. 3rd place, Lord Hyun announced. He didn't look happy about it. The human passes the 2nd trial. The gravity returned to normal. Ta sat heavily on the floor, breathing hard. His hands were scraped and bleeding from crawling. Jia walked to him and helped him stand. You found a different way. Ta nodded, too tired to speak much. Heavy. Gravity. Like Jupiter. Like what? Jia asked. A planet. In our system. Ta explained between breaths. Studied how things move there. The noble who had controlled the gravity came forward. Lucky guess, he said, echoing Lord Hyun's words from the first trial. Not luck, Ta said, standing straighter now. Observation. Adaptation. The human way. Jia looked at Ta with new respect. She had been taught that humans were simple creatures, barely worth notice. But this human had passed 2 of the hardest trials in the kingdom, and she had seen the noble cheat. Her trust in her own people was beginning to crack. 2 days after the trial of body, Princess Jia walked the quiet paths of the royal garden. She needed to think. Captain Ta had passed 2 trials. Only one remained. the trial of spirit, the hardest of all. Princess. Jia turned to see her maid, Min, hurrying toward her. What is it, Min? Jia asked. Min looked around to make sure no one was listening. I was cleaning near Lord Hyun's rooms. I heard him talking with someone. They spoke of the human. Jia felt a chill. What did they say? Lord Hyun said no human would pass the final trial, Min whispered. He has changed the test to make sure Captain Ta fails. Jia's hands tightened into fists. That goes against all our laws. There's more, Min said. Lord Hyun has been talking with the kingdom of Vora. He wants you to marry their prince. Jia was shocked. The kingdom of Vora was known for its strong army but cruel rulers. My father would never agree to that. Lord Hyun said your father doesn't need to know until it's too late, Min said. Jia thanked Min and hurried back to the palace. She needed to find Ta. She found him in the library, reading about Hanjin history. He smiled when he saw her, but his smile faded when he saw her face. What's wrong? He asked. Lord Hyun plans to make sure you fail the last trial, Jia said, and he's plotting with the kingdom of Vora. He wants me to marry their prince. Tai closed the book he was reading. That would be bad. Vora is powerful but cruel, Jia explained. If our kingdoms join, it would create a force that could threaten many worlds, including Earth. Tai's eyes grew serious. Then we need to stop him. We? Jia asked. Yes, we, Ta said. I'm involved now, whether I want to be or not. I could warn my father, Jia said, but Lord Hyun has been his advisor for many years. He might not believe me without proof. Tai thought for a moment. Then we need proof. How? Jia asked. Lord Hyun is always careful. Not careful enough if your maid hurt him, Ta said. People like Lord Hyun always make mistakes. They think they're too smart to get caught. That night, Jia and Ta met in a quiet corner of the palace. Han, Jia's loyal guard, stood watch. I found something, Ta said. He showed Jia a small device. On my ship, we use these to record messages. How does that help us? Jia asked. If we can get Lord Hyun to talk about his plans where this can hear him, we'll have proof, Tai explained. Jia nodded slowly. He meets with his supporters in the West Tower after midnight. But I can't go there. Women are not allowed. Ta smiled. Good thing I'm not a woman. It's too dangerous, Jia said. If they catch you. They won't, Ta promised. Humans are good at being quiet when we need to be. Han stepped forward. I will go with him, Princess. I know the palace better than he does. Jia looked between the two men. One was her loyal guard, bound by duty. The other was a human she had known for less than 2 weeks. Yet she trusted them both. Be careful, she said. Both of you. Later that night, Tai and Han moved silently through the dark halls of the palace. Han led the way, his knowledge of guard rotations keeping them hidden. The West Tower was tall and narrow. They climbed the spiral stairs slowly, listening for voices. Up there, Han whispered, pointing to a door at the top of the stairs. Light showed under it, and they could hear voices. Tai took out his recording device and placed it near the door. Final trial tomorrow, came Lord Hyun's voice. The human will face the ancestors in the simulation. I have programmed it to show only the memories that no outsider could understand. And when he fails? Another voice asked. He leaves in shame, Lord Hyun said. The princess loses her strange interest in humans, and our deal with Vora goes forward. The king will not agree, someone said. The king is old, Lord Hyun replied. Soon, he will step down. The princess will take the throne, with a strong Vora husband to guide her. Ta looked at Han. The guard's face showed shock and anger. This is treason, Han whispered. Suddenly, footsteps sounded on the stairs behind them. Someone was coming up. Ta grabbed his device. Han pointed to a small window. We can climb down, he whispered. Quickly. They slipped out the window just as the footsteps reached the top of the stairs. Holding onto the stone wall, they climbed down into the night. "We have the proof," Ta said when they reached the ground. "Now we need a plan." 2 days after the trial of Body, Princess Jia walked the quiet paths of the royal garden. She needed to think. Captain Ta had passed 2 trials. Only one remained. The trial of spirit, the hardest of all. "Princess." Jia turned to see her maid, Min, hurrying toward her. "What is it, Min?" Jia asked. Min looked around to make sure no one was listening. "I was cleaning near Lord Hyun's rooms. I heard him talking with someone. They spoke of the human." Jia felt a chill. "What did they say?" "Lord Hyun said no human would pass the final trial," Min whispered. "He has changed the test to make sure Captain Ta fails." Jia's hands tightened into fists. "That goes against all our laws." "There's more," Min said. "Lord Hyun has been talking with the kingdom of Vora. He wants you to marry their prince." Jia was shocked. The kingdom of Vora was known for its strong army but cruel rulers. "My father would never agree to that." "Lord Hyun said your father doesn't need to know until it's too late," Min said. Jia thanked Min and hurried back to the palace. She needed to find Ta. She found him in the library, reading about Hanjin history. He smiled when he saw her, but his smile faded when he saw her face. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Lord Hyun plans to make sure you fail the last trial," Jia said. "And he's plotting with the kingdom of Vora. He wants me to marry their prince." Tai closed the book he was reading. "That would be bad." "Vora is powerful but cruel," Jia explained. "If our kingdoms join, it would create a force that could threaten many worlds, including Earth." Tai's eyes grew serious. "Then we need to stop him." "We?" Jia asked. "Yes, we," Ta said. "I'm involved now, whether I want to be or not." "I could warn my father," Jia said. "But Lord Hyun has been his advisor for many years. He might not believe me without proof." Tai thought for a moment. "Then we need proof." "How?" Jia asked. "Lord Hyun is always careful." "Not careful enough if your maid hurt him," Ta said. "People like Lord Hyun always make mistakes. They think they're too smart to get caught." That night, Jia and Ta met in a quiet corner of the palace. Han, Jia's loyal guard, stood watch. "I found something," Ta said. He showed Jia a small device. "On my ship, we use these to record messages." "How does that help us?" Jia asked. "If we can get Lord Hyun to talk about his plans where this can hear him, we'll have proof," Ta explained. Jia nodded slowly. "He meets with his supporters in the West Tower after midnight. But I can't go there. Women are not allowed." Ta smiled. "Good thing I'm not a woman." "It's too dangerous," Jia said. "If they catch you." "They won't," Ta promised. "Humans are good at being quiet when we need to be." Han stepped forward. "I will go with him, Princess. I know the palace better than he does." Jia looked between the 2 men. One was her loyal guard, bound by duty. The other was a human she had known for less than 2 weeks. Yet she trusted them both. "Be careful," she said. "Both of you." Later that night, Tai and Han moved silently through the dark halls of the palace. Han led the way, his knowledge of guard rotations keeping them hidden. The West Tower was tall and narrow. They climbed the spiral stairs slowly, listening for voices. "Up there," Han whispered, pointing to a door at the top of the stairs. Light showed under it, and they could hear voices. Tai took out his recording device and placed it near the door. "Final trial tomorrow," came Lord Hyun's voice. "The human will face the ancestors in the simulation. I have programmed it to show only the memories that no outsider could understand." "And when he fails?" another voice asked. "He leaves in shame," Lord Hyun said. "The princess loses her strange interest in humans, and our deal with Vora goes forward." "The king will not agree," someone said. "The king is old," Lord Hyun replied. "Soon, he will step down. The princess will take the throne, with a strong Vora husband to guide her. Ta looked at Han. The guard's face showed shock and anger. This is treason, Han whispered. Suddenly, footsteps sounded on the stairs behind them. Someone was coming up. Ta grabbed his device. Han pointed to a small window. We can climb down, he whispered. Quickly. They slipped out the window just as the footsteps reached the top of the stairs. Holding onto the stone wall, they climbed down into the night. We have the proof, Ta said when they reached the ground. Now we need a plan. Tai opened his eyes. He was back in the small room beneath the palace. Everyone was staring at him. He's awake, someone said. King Sun stepped forward. What did you see, Captain Ta? Before Tai could answer, the crystal chair began to glow. Above it, 3 figures made of light appeared, Cain Dak and the 2 other rulers from the simulation. The nobles gasped and fell to their knees. Even Lord Hyun bowed his head. The ancestors appear, King Sun said in awe. This has not happened in 100 years. King Dak's light form spoke. We have tested the human Ta. He has answered with honesty and courage. He has passed the trial of spirit. Lord Hyun's head snapped up. Impossible. I programmed the simulation myself. He should have failed. The room went silent. All eyes turned to Lord Hyun. You did what? King Sun asked, his voice dangerously quiet. Lord Hyun realized his mistake too late. He tried to recover. I ensured the trial would be fair, Your Majesty. You lied, the Queen's light form said. You tried to make sure the human would fail. But truth cannot be hidden in the ancestral simulation. We see all. Princess Jia stepped forward. Father, we have proof of Lord Hyun's treachery. She nodded to Han, who played the recording they had made. Lord Hyun's voice filled the room, talking about his plans to make Ta fail and arrange Jia's marriage to the Vora prince. The king's face grew darker with each word. Arrest him, King Sun ordered when the recording ended. Guards moved forward and took hold of Lord Hyun. Wait, Lord Hyun shouted. You don't understand. I did it for the kingdom. Humans are dangerous. Dangerous? Tai asked. How are we dangerous? Your kingdom is far stronger than ours. Because you hide things. Lord Hyun spat. Show them, human. Show them what you've been hiding. Ta looked confused. What are you talking about? Lord Hyun laughed bitterly. We've been watching Earth for years. We know you've made advances you haven't shared. Technology you keep secret. The room went quiet again. All eyes turned to Ta. Tai was silent for a long moment. Then he sighed. You're right. Gasps and whispers filled the room. Princess Jia stared at Ta. It's true, Ta continued. We haven't shared everything. Because every time we tried to trade fairly with your kingdom, you set prices too high for us. You wanted to keep us dependent. He reached into his pocket and took out a small device. This isn't just a recording tool. It's also a computer more powerful than anything in this room. We built it ourselves. You see, Lord Hyun shouted. They lie. They pretend to be primitive while they secretly grow stronger. We don't pretend anything, Ta said calmly. You just never bothered to really look at us. You decided we were primitive and treated us that way. So we learned to solve our problems without your help. He turned to the king. Your Majesty, humans don't want to challenge your kingdom. We want to be treated as equals, to trade fairly, to share knowledge. King Sun looked troubled. If what you say is true, why reveal it now? Why risk everything by coming here? Because someone needed to break the cycle, Ta said. Someone needed to show that humans are worth noticing. The light form of King Dak spoke again. The human speaks truth. We have watched from the ancestral realm as our kingdom has grown proud. Too proud to see the value in others. Princess Jia stepped forward to stand beside Ta. Father, I have seen Earth. Their ways are different, but there is much we could learn from them, and much they could learn from us. The king looked at his daughter. then at Ta, then at the light forms of the ancestors. Perhaps, he said slowly, it is time for change. Lord Hyun struggled against the guards. You would throw away thousands of years of tradition for this human. No, King Sun said. Not for him. For the future of our kingdom. He turned to Ta. You have passed all 3 trials. By our ancient laws, you have earned the respect of the Hanjin kingdom. The light forms of the ancestors nodded in approval, then slowly faded away. The crystal chair stopped glowing. Princess Jia smiled at Ta. You did it. Ta smiled back. We did it. But there's still one more thing to do. A week after the trial of spirit, the great hall of the palace was filled with people. Nobles in their finest clothes stood on one side. On the other side stood a group of humans who had arrived from Earth Colony 5. They wore simple but clean clothes, and they looked around with curious eyes. At the front of the hall, King Sun sat on his throne. Princess Jia stood beside him, wearing a beautiful blue dress that shimmered like the stars. Captain Ta stood nearby, now dressed in clothes that mixed human and Hanjin styles. People of Hanjin, King Sun began. We gather today to honor the completion of the Trial of Worth by Captain Tai of Earth. For the first time in our history, an outsider has passed all 3 trials. The nobles clapped politely, but without much feeling. The humans clapped loudly and smiled. By our ancient laws, the king continued, Captain Ta has earned the respect of our kingdom. But there is more to discuss today. The king stood from his throne. He looked older than before, but his eyes were clear and wise. For too long, our kingdom has looked only to the past, he said. We have honored our ancestors but forgotten to look forward. We have judged other species without truly knowing them. The nobles began to whisper among themselves. This was not what they expected. Lord Hyun's plot to control my daughter's choice of mate has been stopped, the king said. But it has shown us a sickness in our kingdom. Too much pride. Too little openness to new ideas. Princess Jia stepped forward. Father, if I may speak. The king nodded. Of course, daughter. I have spent time on Earth Colony 5, Jia said. I have seen how humans live. They work together. They solve problems in new ways. They'd value what works over what is traditional. She looked at the human group, then at the nobles. There is much our kingdoms could learn from each other, if we are willing to try. Ta stepped forward now. The hall grew quiet. Your Majesty, he said to the king. Princess Jia. People of Hanjin. I came here by accident. I stayed because of a challenge. But I learned something important along the way. He looked at Jia, and his eyes softened. I learned that when different people work together, wonderful things can happen. Tay took a small box from his pocket. He opened it to show a crystal that glowed with inner light. This was made by human and Hanjin scientists working together this past week, he explained. It can power a city for a year without running out, something neither of our people could make alone. The king looked at the crystal with interest. This is remarkable. It's just the beginning, Ta said. If we work together as equals. The king nodded slowly. As equals. He turned to the crowd. From this day forward, the Hanjin kingdom will seek new relationships with Earth and other worlds. Not as rulers, but as partners. Some nobles frowned. Others looked thoughtful. The humans smiled and nodded. And now, the king said, there is one more matter. He looked at his daughter. Princess Jia, the time has come for you to make your choice. The Trial of Worth was created to help you find a worthy mate. Captain Ta has passed the trial. What say you? The hall grew completely silent. Everyone knew what the king was asking. Would the princess choose this human as her mate? Jia looked at Ta. He looked back at her, his eyes calm. He wasn't pushing her either way. The choice was truly hers. Father, Jia said, people of Hanjin, I have made my choice. She walked to Ta and took his hand. I choose Captain Ta, not because he passed the trials, not because of politics. I choose him because he showed me a new way to see the world. He showed me that strength comes in many forms. Tai squeezed her hand gently. And I choose Princess Jia for her wisdom, her courage, and her open heart. The king smiled. Then it is settled. He raised his hands. Let this union be the first step in a new journey for our kingdom. A journey of discovery and growth. A journey where we learn from others instead of looking down on them. As the king spoke, Jia and Ta looked out at the crowd. Some faces showed shock. Some showed happiness. Some showed worry. But it was a beginning. A new path for both their peoples. Together, Jia whispered to Ta, "We can build something better than either of us could alone." Ta nodded. Together, that's the human way. And now, it seems, the Hanjin way too. Outside the palace windows, the 3 moons of Hanjin shone down on the crystal towers. But now, those towers didn't seem like barriers keeping others out. They looked like beacons, shining light into the future, a future that humans and Hanjin would build together.